Hey YouTube, this is James from Low Level Meta here, and today we're going to cover a topic that I've seen a lot of videos on recently, and that's the concept of ELO Hell. So, ELO Hell, as defined by the ever-lovely Urban Dictionary, is a place for the masses of kids who think they are way more skilled than they actually are in League of Legends. Now, obviously, since this is mostly about Overwatch right now, this kind of applies to Overwatch. I think that there's both a negative stigma in terms of ELO Hell and kind of this idea that, hey, if you say that you're an ELO Hell, then obviously you just think that you're better than you are, which in some cases is probably true, but I think that there's also cases where you are actually stuck in a situation where maybe you shouldn't be there. Now, generally what this entails is there's somebody who gets put into games where maybe they're not good enough to carry a team out of a bracket, but they're still pretty good. And the big disagreement that I see with this is people see streamers that go ahead and start in bronze and go all the way up to master. Last season, Stir did this. He started in bronze with an alternate account, and then he went ahead and got that alt account all the way up to masters. I believe this season he's now in grandmaster. So the question is, if he's capable of going from bronze to masters, then why isn't everybody else who's supposed to be in diamond being able to get out of silver and go to diamond? And I think the big reason for that type of argument is that if you go ahead and take somebody who is currently in, let's say, silver, they might be, let's say, a middle gold player, but they're not skilled enough to get their teammates out of the bracket that they're in. However, they are certainly able to compete at the higher level. Let's, for example, take LeBron James. I'm sure most people are familiar with him. He is an extremely good basketball player, and if you put him in any level of basketball, he is going to go ahead and probably dominate. He is just that good that no matter where you put him, he is just going to be able to take over games. He's going to be able to do whatever is necessary to win. Now, if you take somebody who's possibly less skilled, like Shane Battier, who was an integral part of the Miami Heat's victories and championships while LeBron James was down there, he may or may not, especially at his age now, be able to compete with people who are, let's say, at the high college level. Now, does that necessarily mean that Shane Battier didn't belong in the NBA, or did that just mean that his skill set, when combined with other people at a professional level, are much better? And I'm guessing, and I'm almost 100% positive, that this is the case for some people that think that they're an ELO Hell, where maybe by themselves they're not capable of carrying a team, but if you put them on a team with people who are able to do their job, then they can probably succeed in that type of environment. Now, I think the more dangerous of the two types of ELO Hell is the one where people think that they are carrying the weight of their team, everything they're doing is correct, and there's nothing that they're doing wrong, and the only reason why they keep on losing is because their teammates aren't very good. Now, I am 100% positive I've been in situations like this before where somebody leaves, maybe somebody picks Hanzo and they just stay on it. They're not getting any kills out of it. They're just shooting randomly all over the place. They're not being able to pick anybody off. And you end up losing the game because there's one or two people on your team that are just essentially throwing the game. Now, maybe they're doing it on purpose. Maybe they don't really know what they're doing. Whatever the case is, they're making it harder for you to win. Now, because of this, you can take a look at it and say, oh, look, I'm an ELO Hell because my teammates are terrible. But if you go back, especially if you are capable of recording your gameplay and taking a look at it, there are many, many times where I'm looking back, especially while I'm making these videos, and noticing just extremely cringy moments where I'm going, what the hell was I thinking while this was going on? And at the time, I thought it was probably a good idea, but looking back at it, it wasn't. And really, when I started recording my gameplay and going back and looking at it some, you kind of notice that, oh my god, I'm doing all these things that I'm probably yelling at other players for, and I'm doing just the same thing, and they're probably thinking the same thing about me, which is, hey, this guy probably has no idea what he's doing. And because of that, before you go ahead and start yelling at teammates or saying, I'm the one carrying the team, make sure that you if possible, record the gameplay, take a look at it, see what you're doing, and see what you could be doing better. Because a lot of times you see people, and especially with other YouTube channels, they take a look at people and how they're playing and what they could do different. There's people who put stuff in and probably get much better at the game just because somebody else takes a look at their gameplay and says, these are the things you could be doing better. And if people take the time, look at what they're doing, see how they can progress, then I think that we would end up with a lot less people who think that they're an ELO Hell and just understand that, hey, maybe I'm not as good as I thought I was. And finally, you have to ask yourself, what are you expecting to see when you get into a higher bracket? There's tons of streamers who stream online. I mean, I recommend Seagull, to some extent Stir. You can go ahead and watch the YourOverwatch people. They're very good and positive for the most part. all of those people, you can take a look at their gameplay and see, even in high diamond, masters, grandmasters levels with some of them, you get the same type of players for the most part as you do in lower levels, except just in general, those people are better mechanically and technically, possibly also communication-wise. So you run into kind of the same issues that you do in the lower levels, it's just that people are better. So you have to ask yourself, what is the intent of getting higher? Now, I can see on one hand just wanting to say, hey, you know what, I played this, I'm good at it, that's it. But there's a lot of people who seem to just want to get higher because they think that at some point the players are going to be so much better skilled all the way around that everybody's going to pick, a perfect comp. Everybody's going to be communicating, when that's not always the case. You can look at tons of gameplay video where people are playing around and nobody says anything. There's tons of different Seagull streams where he's going ahead and talking to stream and nobody else in the chat is saying anything. And that's at the Grandmaster level. So you got to think, if at that level people are communicating, maybe people are picking what they think are troll picks. This happens a lot when Stir picks Sombra, that all of a sudden you have people who are exactly the same as what's going on now in whatever bracket you're in, and that's just going to continue on. So really ask yourself, what is the goal for trying to get into a higher bracket? If it's just trying to say, hey, you know what, I'm better than what I think I am, that's great, but don't expect to go into a higher bracket and then all of a sudden the game is going to change because you're now in Masters and everybody knows exactly what they're doing. And just remember, this game is for fun, so if you're sitting there and you're getting frustrated or tilted that your team's not doing so good, and even if you go back and look and see, hey, you know what, I was doing everything correctly, my teammate's the one who lost it, just take a second, take a deep breath, remember that the game's supposed to be for fun, and if you're not having fun with comp, just go ahead and go to quick play. If you need to, just go to a different game and just enjoy yourself. And remember that sometimes there's people at the other end who are also having a bad day. And you know what? They might think that they're in the same situation that you're in. So just remember, take a few minutes, have fun, enjoy yourself. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, and have a wonderful weekend.